Was I was a dude in the chat earlier at the beginning of the stream saying that Kisame beats Pain.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's pretty common. You'd be surprised, man.
yeah,
Oh,
Kisame, yeah, he doesn't beat Pain. Pain blitzed and destroyed Casey Naruto. Casey Naruto blitzed Kisame, so it's
oh,
very unlikely.
I think mainly no, I'm not saying like I don't think Kisame beats Nagato. I do think that Kisame does beat like the group of Pains though, mainly due to his scaling to Killer B and how Killer B is um I would argue high is above A, and then based off of like his sheer durability, all that sort of stuff with Guy, and mainly because you can say that yes, the chakra attacks from B would fluctuate because of Samehada, so I would say that his durability scaling to Guy would help more, mainly because Guy's power wouldn't fluctuate in the fight,
Right,
and then you have his strength that you can go on look at all his fights and see, okay, would he be able to smack a pain away with his strength? And so like I mainly sort of base my arguments for Kisame versus Pain off of how fast is Killer B, and also how durable is um, Kisame based off of Guy's attacks, because well his it I think it was the Hirodora was one that tore through Madara's basic Susanoo, the ones that he was using to fight the Kage with.
right.
So
So you would have to prove that Pain is significantly weaker than Nagato, and he was significantly weaker than his full power because he was fatigued in the Konoha village. He used a chaotic Shinatensei, fought the entire Konoha simultaneously. So when he did fight Stage 1 Naruto, he was heavily fatigued and nowhere near full power. So you'd have to prove that full power Pain at his optimal is
Yeah,
significantly
that's like
weaker than
saying
Nagato.
a Kasame with Samahata is like scales to Kasame that fought fucking Guy. You
Yeah,
know,
but
like it was
it's
oh
similar
not.
yeah,
games.
It's
Like,
not
come on.
I'm
equivalent.
more sort. Sorry, you go.
Yeah, you'd have to prove that, which I don't see how you could without it being stated or implied that he's much weaker. Um, so yeah, that's what you have to do first to even establish that scaling. So
And not only that, just to kind of add on it, like if we're really looking even at the narrative, you name it, like Kishimoto has like countless fucking data books that are just basically saying Pain's the strongest. You know, like he's a leader due to his fucking power and charisma, you name it, and
yeah, the
that's why they have
strongest.
to follow him, whether they like it or not. You know,
Right.
like there's just so much stuff to narratively support that he's, definitely up there as the strongest thing, at least in comparison with all the other Akatsuki members. I'm not saying like
No,
Obito
exactly,
or
bro.
Itachi, but fucking, when it comes like, it's definitely being implied in that sense.
Right.
And it's just stated over and over, the whole God aspect, the whole, he's a, fucking omnipotent. Not, I'm being exaggerating, but the whole divine thing. That's basically all that's being
He's
said
said to
about
be
him, and it's
good,
never.
you
Yeah,
know?
Kasame is never getting that level of hype or reputation or respect. It's kind of similar to Minato. You know what I mean? Like he has all these statements, blah blah, yada yada yada. It's really weird to say, oh, that's not the case, and etc. X, Y, and Z.
Uh,
Oh yeah,
So you have
yeah.
that to kind of go off of, and then and like I said, with the whole what Jay was kind of saying with him being fatigued, you name it, you can't limit scaling to someone that's not even at full power, okay? Because that's just being disingenuous in a sense. You know what I mean? Like, and then not only that, he was still able to beat, basically the whole village and stage one Naruto while being fatigued and tired, and then still has enough juice to fight against V2 Six Tails Naruto, which remind you, okay, is obviously stronger. Well, should be stronger in a sense than like the V2 Eight Tails, if you get what I'm saying. Like the V2 Eight Tails completely shitted on Kasame. Yeah, he was able to react, but he still gets fucked up and bleeding, you name it. While Pain can just, while fatigued and tired, run a V2 bloodlusted Six Tails Naruto. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, like there's just so much to kind of show that he's just on a different level. It's really weird to say that Kasame should just be above and just be able to beat his ass. You know, and it's even shown with Itachi. You know, like once he whips out Mangekyo, Kasama can't fuck with him. You know, and Rinnegan's obviously a higher
No
level
doubt.
Dojutsu. Then you got to put into consideration of Nagato having tremendously way more higher chakra levels and stamina, his vitality, you know, because of him being associated with, you know, it was a Monkey Clan and everything, you name it. Like he was able to wield 2 Renegons, only a feat that Madara could do, you know. So it's just, I don't know, bro. Like I feel like with the hacks, with the narrative implications, you know, with his abilities, what he was able to do while also fatigued and weakened. He's just I don't know. I just
Let's
don't
save
see
the battle
Kasami
in
fucking
pain.
Right.
with him at
So
all.
yeah.
You know?
Also, what you would have to do, since claiming Kisame strong is a fighting a losing battle against the narrative itself, you'd have to kind of have to give a rational argument as to why that would be the case if Pain is stated as the strongest in the Akatsuki. From which I would say you could argue Obito and Itachi are excluded, because Itachi's undercover and Obito's the real head of the Akatsuki. So clearly Kisame most definitely is in that range of, yeah, he's below Pain. So you'd have to also go against that and rationally argue why that
Against the
would be
narrative.
not correct.
Even in the manga, it's stated. It's like on the bottom. Excuse me, on the bottom of the chapter where it says, "Oh, the strongest Akatsuki goes to capture Naruto." You know, the Nine Tails. You know,
Empirically,
So-
it's
think
He's
just,
just
that
power and
state-
charisma.
there's not
Yeah.
much for him empirically to suggest that. So to suggest Kisame is above him.
I think
but I
the
do understand
statement
your
of the
reasoning though,
strongest
like with the whole Killer Bee ranking and scaling and whatnot. Like I get you. I get what you're saying.
I think with the whole strongest member of the Akatsuki statement goes for Itachi because in the I think it's in the
Next
next
panel over.
chapter,
Yeah.
Itachi is the one who shows up to Naruto and talks to him about Sasuke,
Mhm.
and then because neither Obito or Pain or any other character shows up at least to my memory about like showing up to Naruto during the beginning of the chapter when Itachi talks to him. And most of the basis for my argument of like Kisame over Pain is the whole implication of how he has fought Itachi multiple times uh and is definitively below him, but Killer B, someone superior to A. You get where I'm going with that? I know that,
Pain would
but
just
I
be
also
superior to those
fighting.
guys, simply put.
Yeah, basically, he would Pain to scales to those people. You know what I mean? So meaning,
Pain,
yes, he would scale to like KCM,
full power
to
Pain.
Raikage,
Yeah,
and
full
Killer
power
Bee, etc.
Pain is relative to Edo Nagato.
Full power at least.
Yeah, he's relative to Edo Nagato. So
I'm about to hit you
And
guys with
Nagato,
some.
mind you, Nagato's controlling the passive pains with his chakra. Like it's not like it's these random ninja utilizing their own chakra power. It's him using his own chakra to control these bodies. You know what I mean? So it's his power, it's his chakra.
Mm.
So just to say that they scale entirely different in comparison to Nagato is also a little weird
and
as
he
well.
also blitzed Killer Bee crippled, by the way.
Yeah, and that too. Like, well, white hair crippled.
If he's
He
crippled
fucking
and
was dealing with
not even
KCM
full
and
power,
MB at the same time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
why
hasn't
would
even
Pain?
absorbed
Why would
Beast
Tendo
chakra yet.
Pain? Why would Tendo
Fucking
Pain be
him up.
weaker? That wouldn't make sense either.
You know. So like, it's just really weird to say, like, Kisame or even Killer Bee. Like, I don't even like.
Killer
to
Bee
just,
scales
just
below
completely
him.
shit on
I mean,
Pain.
he literally got
Like, that's
blitzed by
really weird.
an old withered Hiruzen. I mean, not Hiruzen, a
And then we
Nagato.
see that
Nagato,
also
yeah.
further collaborated when Killer Bee goes against the Rinnegan for the first time. He's never dealt with it, and none of his attacks can do anything. He can't do anything. The Link Vision's just negating all that shit. And normally you would think, okay, if that doesn't work, let me just go to V1 or V2, which is what he normally does in character. No. Instead, he has to go like full fucking transformation and then clear out the whole fucking forest and then try to gain the advantage that way, you know? So, and obviously, with Pain as a character, he has hacks. If Killer Bee's going to get serious, Pain will get serious as well and utilize his abilities, which would just basically defeat that. You know, so I don't know. I just, you know, Pain, it's just as simple as he can be able to scale to them and beat them as well. It's that simple.
So much disrespect on Pain, bro. I don't get where it comes from in the fan base, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
Just
honestly.
And
lack
nothing against you though, Death 69. Like I feel you 100%.
Oh, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just keeping it real.
yeah.
To okay, so that makes me a little curious. What is your guys' Akatsuki ranking? Because I feel like mine comes from a different place than all of yours.
Obito, Itachi, Pain, probably. With Itachi and Pain being damn near interchangeable, depending on the
Yep.
argument. So,
Yep.
Kisame's below all three of those guys.
I have ways, because I've actually done this myself, to be able to try to get technically Pain as number one. In comparison, like if it's being compared to Sekitachi and Obito, like whatever, there's certain lines, like if you analyze the whole Konan fight, you name it, etc. Like it's a whole other can of worms. But there are people that are out there that can be, oh, Pain's number one, and I do have certain arguments that kind of get him in that way as well. But
Yeah.
if you look at it in the whole grand scheme of things, the most popular, most common line of scaling is exactly what Jay said. It's just Obito, Tachi, Pain, or then it goes Obito, Pain, and Tachi. Those are the constant ones. The only other one you really see as well that is, very popular would be Pain, Obito, Itachi, or Pain, Itachi, Obito.
And underneath those, I would probably put like Kisame,
Kisame,
Orochimaru, Sorcery,
yeah, those
Datara,
and then like
Kakazu.
Kakazu, Konan, and like
And then-
Konan. Yeah.
Oh yeah, exactly.
To be
Konan as well.
honest, though, like I think Kisame and Konan is interesting though.
With
like, I-
Cap or
like-
nah?
I think that Konan, her feat was so impressive because of the years of prep time. I think without them, she would have been dealt with very
Oh
easily.
yeah, she got stomped by Jiraiya. bro,
Jiraiya
and-
bodied her, and Jiraiya's
Yeah,
vastly inferior to
Jiraiya's
Obito.
spoiled.
What
So you know what she
what
signed
do you
up
guys
for,
think
bro.
Go ahead.
Cause I mainly go off of like speed in Naruto mainly
Well,
because I
Hiruzen
do
is slower
remember-
than the Raikage, and he's considered superior, so speed's not the only variable. So,
well, I
Togurama and
know
Madara.
that. It's mainly
So for
Togurama
instance,
Madara,
like Death,
because
Madara,
if it was
like,
speed,
like travel speed wise, like
yeah,
he was able to react to Raikage's full speed. I mean, like he's not moving at like the same speed, like travel wise, but he can still react.
if we were going off of speed, then Minato would be the strongest non-six pass character. Clearly, he's not. So
Exactly.
yeah,
The goat.
well, it mainly goes off of like a tiering system sort of thing, like how Orochimaru. I know it's a little shaky, but Orochimaru in part one put even though it said that all Sanin in part one of Naruto are equal, Orochimaru put Tsunade below them, comparing her to Kakashi. Kabuto compares himself to Kakashi. He's able to keep up with Tsunade.
well, that was a
So I
mentally
do
nerfed
sort of
Tsunade,
think-
though.
Yes, I do agree with that, but it would still sort of it to a certain degree, especially seeing as how Kabuto was still able to, at the very least, react to her.
Yeah,
And
but
Orochimaru,
again, she was nerfed, and the fact that she
yeah.
pummeled Orochimaru, who's superior to Kabuto, just kind of negates that. After
Yeah,
she gained a mental fortitude, she not bodied, but starting to beat the shit out of Orochimaru. So, which again reinforces the notion of relativity.
Yeah, like what he's saying basically, Death, is that wasn't a prime Tsunade. That's like a rusty Tsunade that hasn't really done shit.
She's literally
Known as how long,
like
also has
pissing, like
blood.
pissing herself. Yeah, she's literally pissing herself.
Yeah,
in
also
there.
has like blood, psychological weakness, which is tremendous. Okay, for a weakness. Like now, I know that's besides the point because they start fighting. You're right. Kabuto does dodge, and they're basically able to be relative enough to where they're both huffing and puffing, and he does like a pill, and then now he has the stamina and chakra back while she's fully fatigued, and then he gets
also. You could argue that she was
but-
still mentally nerfed even previously to that because she was conflicted about having to betray
Yes.
Jiraiya and company. So in fact, she was still mentally nerfed.
So there's a lot of variables. So we just unfortunately you can't concretely prove that it's stated that Kabuto's Kakashi blah blah. Yet he could be able to fight Asani blah blah. Like it's just really weird for Kishimoto to provide all those statements and narrative implications,
Right.
and then out of nowhere for it to be
Yeah.
contradicted just for shits and giggles. Obviously, it has to be to do more to variables.
If you want to go one step
know?
further, Kabuto was scared of Hebi Sasuke before he kills Orochimaru, or after, I believe. So that also implies inferiority to someone weaker than Orochimaru. So there's also that. So that just further proves that he's inferior to
And then
Tsunade.
Kabuto was told by Orochimaru, "You can't kill me. You're Kakashi level. So the only way to stop me is killing Sasuke." What does he do? He doesn't try to fight Orochimaru.
Yeah.
He goes to just kill Sasuke.
Yeah.
And
then eventually he's even intimidated by Sasuke. So that happens too. And he's below, and he scales below Orochimaru. So
Okay. I do still sort of so the whole speed tier thing that I was talking about, I still sort of think that it could exist, probably mainly due to characters like uh like the Pains, for example. During Jiraiya's fight against them, they are still able to block hits from him, and including the weaker paths. I think it was the summoning path, the male one,
Animal.
that blocked a punch from him, and then later Sage
It was the
Naruto
small grabbing one, the one that didn't have
destroyed
eyes.
all of
Yeah.
them. At least when the Diva path is on ground. I think that uh, base Naruto was exchanging blows, but I don't remember if it
mm,
was
it was mostly
base or
Sage Mode was the one that bodied their shit, all of them. So
yeah. I would say that like uh because we do know it's a 10 times increase for Sage
At
mode.
least,
at
yeah.
least I think it's more than that because the
That
synthetic
was a
And
shitty
Naruto
replication
could be
was
more technically because
Orochimaru's.
that's
That's
only really
imperfect. Yeah.
that's basically stated for Orochimaru's curse mark, which we asked the Chris fucking stage about, but that's besides the point. But for Jiraiya, the data book statements does say 10 times as well
He's a
for Jiraiya stage mode, but for Naruto,
Hmm.
he's a
there's
perfect
no
sage.
clarification, so it
Yeah.
could be higher technically.
It probably is
Yeah,
higher.
Yeah.
yeah, like for instances like that where then characters that are still like able to throw each other around and characters that are having a harder time keeping up with others, I sort of categorize them in this sort of speed tiers where they if a character is having a harder time with one another in like the character skills or fights another character later on, like for example Sasori, I jumped around a lot with his scaling, especially like early on.
Hmm.
I originally thought, oh, because of all the things I heard about him, oh, he probably just scales to Sakura. But then I looked at it things later on. I also
That's like
heard about
Shisui and
like
Danzo.
Tio
Yeah.
and KCM, and I thought, oh, he's probably faster than like. But no, it's probably I want to go a little bit more conservative. So let's go down a little and see what else I can find. I found some things when he was in Edo, so I mainly with stuff like that, mainly try to be as conservative as I can, especially when
It's
it comes to
open-minded, right?
things like
Yeah.
that. So I for the pains, I mainly put them at the bottom rung of light speed, mainly because of the fact that I think that KCM is a bigger boost than Sage Mode. Otherwise, Sage Mode would have been used a whole lot more, particularly during the war arc against the Jinchuriki,
Uh-huh.
mainly because the um, uh, other abilities that Sage Mode gives Naruto would be, I think, better than KCM. So,
Well, it is stated verbatim that sensory reaction for Sage Mode is technically better than KCM, but um, but regardless,
Yeah.
that's just the KCM was technically still implied by Naruto to be more powerful overall in a
And that's
general
why he used
sense.
it against the
So,
Raikage. Yeah.
yeah, that's why
It's
he
better.
used it against That's why he says that against to Nagato, and that's also why he even says that to beat Sasuke. So yeah, Sage Mode can be relative or even superior in certain aspects compared to KCM, but it's KCM is still stronger overall.
Yeah.
But either way, like I think you said before with the whole where it's weird when like Pain is fighting base Naruto, but yet he can do a Sage Majora and all that other stuff, yada yada.
That's
So they
fatigued.
kind
Yeah.
of
He's
yeah,
fatigued.
so the debate, yeah, that's the problem. Once again, it's because he's getting more tired and fatigued. So like, you got to remember when the fight first starts, Pain's a little bit caught off guard, like by how much fucking, by just how crazy strong Sage Naruto is, because he immediately just one shots the fucking robot path of Pain with a Rising Dawn. Okay,
mhm.
now regardless if you want to consider that a mental amp, kind of similar to what Jiraiya did when he did basically the same exact thing in the beginning of the fight when he goes in Sage mode, like the Path of Pain charges him. He just kicks him in his fucking face. He couldn't do anything. And when you look at the data book, it says, "Oh, Jiraiya like hardened his resolve." So that was obviously a mental amp moment, and then from there it just goes on. So regardless if you apply that for Naruto or not, it doesn't matter. Throughout in the anime and even in the manga, all the passive pains are able to react to Sage Naruto. Like the summoning one is able to react and kind of go blow for blow, whatever. And then even Tendo was able to react at a certain moment where he's able to move his arms up and block the kick. You know, in the anime, it shows him blocking several punches and then the kick happens. So like, there's plenty of implications for a fatigue, tired, pain to still be relative or similar to Sagemo. Now, obviously, Sagemo does overpower him. Eventually, he is outclassed to a certain degree, but he can keep up with it. And mind you, this is from a tired, fatigued Path of Pain, and as the fight continues on, then he's shown to, you know, combat against face Naruto, and then he's about to end the fight by using his rod, which would have stabbed and got his ass, but he summoned Sagemo back in time to create an off-guard moment, and then basically, you know, got the upper hand, which led to the whole kick thing and the punches. So, like, a lot of people try to downplay Pain because of that, you know, of, Pain is, you know, shown to fight against base Naruto and yada yada, which meaning therefore he scales the base. That doesn't make any sense because he can literally not only have exchanges with Sagemo Naruto, and then whenever he uses his jutsu activation, like hacks, you name it, that all can also compete against Sagemo Naruto. And then when Tendo Pain gets his powers back, he instantaneously shits on it. It's not even a fight. And mind you, this is when he's weakened and fatigued. So
Instantly.
So
you know, so like
So basically, the most concrete scaling that is very hard to combat is this: that so Killer Bee lost to a crippled, weak Edo Nagato easier than he lost to a full power Kisame. Kisame got blitzed by V2. It wasn't exactly a one-shot battle. Killer Bee literally got one-shotted and got his chakra absorbed by an not old, but a very withered and weakened Nagato, who's blatantly inferior to a Tendo Pain, because if it wasn't, then what would the point of these reanimations be anyway? So clearly he's weaker than the passive Pain, so that's why he had him in the first place. But yet, as an Edo, was able to blitz Killer Bee. So you have to prove why Pain would lose to Kisame based off that scaling.
Like I've just looked at it again, so I just wanted to make sure. Like white hair and crippled, like his whole body fucked up and white hair, meaning he's not at full power.
Not even close.
Yeah, Killer Bee goes to V2, charges at him, does the lip, like does a punch, and he just dodges that shit effortlessly. And then Shira tenses him and then fights Casey and Naruto and shits on him too.
Yeah, so literally it's blatant.
Kisame was able to react, but he couldn't dodge, while Nagato could dodge.
One shot at him essentially.
So, yeah, like come on.
It's not even close.
What would